Hi everyone, this is Rita from XGeeks. It's nice to see you once again in one of our live streams. You know how excited we are to have everyone over there at home watching us. So it's super nice to have you here once again, and welcome to XGeeks YouTube channel. So if you're new to the channel, you know what to do. Just subscribe us and make sure that you keep up with our news across our social media channels. If this is not your first time in our channel, awesome. It's awesome to see you here once again, and yeah, keep on showing up for our events. We think they are quite cool, so it's nice to see you here. And if you're watching us afterwards, that's also incredible. So thank you so much for watching us, and of course make sure to leave any questions in the comment section. If you have them, we'll try to address them afterwards. But as I told you at the beginning, this is XGeeks YouTube channel and our live streams, and let's talk about XGeeks very shortly before we get to business. So XGeeks is an engineering company focused on providing capacity to product companies. So we're not a typical project company due to several reasons, but mainly due to a huge focus on community, a strong engineering culture, and a product drive. So XGeeks represents what we believe a great and perfect balance between project and product, and our teams across Portugal are working in building products while dealing with a broad stack. So if you want to know more of what we do, who we are, our open positions, our team, our content, and what we've been up to, you can make sure to follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, even on Medium, and of course subscribe us to this YouTube channel. So we believe that we do some cool stuff, so it would be awesome to see you around. For today's live stream, we have Emily as our speaker of the day, and MicroProfile 4.1, 5.0 and beyond will be today's talk. So we'll get into this topic into a quite deep level, so I think you'll enjoy today's talk. And Emily is not the first time that Emily is a speaker over here, so we're super glad to bring Emily in a couple of seconds to the stage. But remember, there will always be space for questions, so feel free to add them in the chat. And having this said, let's bring Emily to our chat. Hi Emily, nice to see you here. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you, Rita. Thanks for inviting me back.
Of course, we're happy to see you here once again. It's always nice to have you here. Thank you. Should we get into business and understand a bit more about your today's talk?
Yeah, so in today's session, I'm going to talk about MicroProfile. Last year's release, 4.1, 5.0, and also look ahead. Also talk about what's our plan for the 2022. So I will do a little demo to demonstrate how to use MicroProfile 4.1 and 5.0. And if you want, if you are thinking about migrating from JavaX to Jakarta namespace, and also probably you will learn how to use the Eclipse Transformer to do the migration for you. So that's is part of my demo as well.
Awesome. So it sounds quite exciting. Emily, should we share your screen and get into business?
Let's get started. Let me share my screen.
Okay, so just setting up, everyone. So remember, while Emily is setting up everything, that we're going to, of course, have space for questions. So just make sure to leave them in the comment section, and we'll address them throughout today's talk. So perfect. So Emily, we have you in the screen.
Yeah, let me get started. So I'm Emily Jiang, and I work for IBM. I live in the UK, and I'm a Java champion. I'm a MicroProfile Jakarta architect for IBM. So in today's session, we'll mainly talk about MicroProfile. Just first to level set, why do we need a MicroProfile? So basically, if you remember correctly, sorry. If you remember, in the past, back in the 2010, we all started talking about microservices, and people started trying to use different programming languages such as Go and Python, and etc. Because it's kind of because it's Java didn't have the APIs for developing microservices. And also people complain about Spring APIs too complex. And at the same time, is the Java EE was stagnant. So basically, we need to evolve new APIs to meet the like a new requirement. But at that time, the standard is kind of really slow evolving. So it's with that requirement and the problems back in 2016, like a few companies, including IBM, Red Hat, Piara, Tommy Tribe, and others, got together and create a new community called MicroProfile. So MicroProfile, first release is in the fall 2016. As you can see, like each year till 2020 is like we have 3 releases per year. And in the 2020, because it's MicroProfile was so popular, and then there's a need to establish a working group. So it's in 2020 October we established a MicroProfile working group. So which means MicroProfile has become a standard. So it's all the APIs and etc. It's PCKs. They are standard. There's in the like after working group was created last year, we had 2 releases. Is MicroProfile 4.1 in July 2021, and then in December 2021 we released MicroProfile 5.0. So as you can see from this timeline, you can see in the beginning it borrowed 3 Java EE technologies, JAX-RS, CDI, and JSON-P, and then later on is rebased like MicroProfile 2.0 and rebased on the Java EE 8 technology. And then is in the like MicroProfile 4.0, and in December it is aligned with Jakarta EE 8. And then is actually is in the last year, December last year, we again align with MicroProfile with Jakarta EE 9.1. Because 9.1 has the Java has a big migration, big bang release. Basically, it's a change from JavaX to Jakarta namespace. So JavaX is kind of dead, and then Jakarta is the new namespace. So in order to evolve even further, we need to have the stable foundation. So that's why we align with Jakarta EE 9.1. So as I mentioned earlier in this talk, we talk about 4.1, 5.0 and beyond. 4.1 actually is a small release. It has one spec update, which is MicroProfile Health 3.1. And then in 5.0, which is a huge, bigger release, is all of the spec have major change because all the dependencies on the Jakarta has changed, and from JavaX to Jakarta. So it's and then like at the end of this talk, I will brief talk about what's coming. So 4.1 was released in July 2021. I mentioned it's only one spec update, which is MicroProfile Health 3.1. If you remember, in the Kubernetes 1.16 release in November 2020, a startup prop was introduced. Why do they want to introduce a startup prop? It is because it's some microservice or modular monoliths and takes some time to start up. So basically, it's kind of the slow startup. Without the startup prop, you have a liveness and readiness check. So and then it's liveness check kicked in before the application has started, and then it constantly is destroy it and trying to restart again and destroy, run into an indefinite loop. So it's which is why it's let's create a gate. So basically, it's a startup prop is a gate. So you knock on the door first to see, okay, yes, it's a startup prop saying, okay, now my application has started. Now is kind of you can check on liveness or readiness props. So this is a main reason why it's kind of startup prop was introduced. As you may know, MicroProfile Health is direct the kind of the influence from Kubernetes. So the MicroProfile Health is provide three endpoint. Is like previous provided two endpoint /health/live for liveness prop and /health/ready for readiness prop. And then is kind of because there's a new startup prop, and then is MicroProfile 3.1 added /health/started for the startup prop. And also is in order to provide some is some checks, we also introduce annotation called at startup. So it's to like this is at a startup. Joined together with liveness and readiness annotation. They implement the same health check interface. So it's basically it's kind of you can specify what kind of logic you want for a startup check. For example, okay, this endpoint is live, and then you say, okay, I'm started. So in MicroProfile 4.1 is basically is just health 3.1 update, and also we did some tidy up. Previously, Jakarta annotations was brought in transitively, and we didn't mention it in our kind of the building block. And now we properly kind of acknowledge the dependency on the Jakarta annotations. Also, the 4.1 is the first platform release requiring compatible certification. So basically, previously, when we release MicroProfile platform releases, is as long as we released individual the specifications, and then we just went ahead to release the platform release. But from this release forward, and we need one implementation to prove this implementation, can pass all of the TCKs from these 8 MicroProfile specifications. Is previously maybe is kind of one implementation pass all these TCK here, another implementation pass the TCK on the Open API, and we join the effort and say, okay, is all the TCK can be proved, can be successfully executed. Maybe it's by the combined effort, but now it's kind of we need to prove actually there's one implementation proof is they can pass all of these TCKs within the same binary. So this again, this is kind of give you another representative for the MicroProfile 4.1 is on the left is called platform. This one is called platform release. On the right hand side is a standalone release. So we talk about 4.1. We mainly talk about all these specifications. So outside this umbrella release, we have a standalone release like reactive messaging, reactive stream operators, context propagation, GraphQL, and LRA. So in MicroProfile 4.1 implementation, since 4.1 cannot be released without compatible implementation, so we used OpenLiberty 2108-beta as a compatible implementation. So it's this release OpenLiberty 2108-beta and passed all of these 8 MicroProfile specification TCKs. And then shortly afterwards is OpenLiberty 2109. This is kind of the first implementation for production use. And shortly afterwards, Quarkus and Wildfly and Payara all kind of the certified or support MicroProfile 4.1. And then after 4.1 was auto-door, and we kind of putting forward with the MicroProfile 5.0 release. So we finally released 5.0 on the 7th December, which is I announced on the Jakarta One live stream. I was really pleased. We managed to get 5.0 released in December 2021. So this is a kind of the representation about how this spec have changed. So it's in the 5.0, is all of these MicroProfile 4 specs have major change, and this is all the 5 Jakarta spec have major change because they changed the namespace. And this one, they changed their dependency. So they no longer depend on JavaX, now they depend on Jakarta namespace. And for the standalone, is the context propagation also did another release to align with the Jakarta EE 9.1. Well, the other specs, these 4 specs, and also is trying to align with Jakarta EE 9.1 at the moment. So MicroProfile 5.1 is kind of aligned with Jakarta EE 9.1, and this 8 component spec update dependency from JavaX to Jakarta. Also because we don't really want kind of complicated things. So we say, okay, in order to minimize the migration effort, we say, okay, we don't want any functional changes introduced in these 8 specifications. The only change is about dependency change from JavaX to Jakarta. So the implementation actually is, even though it's only change the dependency, but it's a huge amount of work because it's kind of even though MicroProfile spec itself haven't changed, but the underlying dependency changed. So that means the implementation need to cope with, need to make a decision. Do they want to change the source, like previously they import JavaX and now they change the source to import Jakarta? Or they want to transform a binary, so they use the same source and transform the binary and produce 2 binaries. One binary is JavaX, the other binary is Jakarta. So there's a project called Eclipse Transformer. So this is it's under Eclipse Foundation, and this is a GitHub repo, and also is this Eclipse Transformer can help you to transform from JavaX to Jakarta namespace. So there's blog and written by one of my colleagues, Tom Betanti, regarding how to use the Eclipse Transformer. So Eclipse Transformer was created by BJ Hargrave, is from IBM, and is it simplified the transformation from JavaX to Jakarta in a great deal. So I will demo shortly regarding how to use this. So in the MicroProfile 5.0 implementation, so again, I mentioned earlier, so again, in order to release 5.0, we need a compatible implementation. Again, we use OpenLiberty 2201-beta as a compatible implementation. And then shortly afterwards, we released 2201 is in January 2022, the first production use. Production ready to support MicroProfile 5.0. And then Wildfly also released a 26.0.0 final to support MicroProfile 5.0. So I know other runtime also is on their way to support MicroProfile 5.0. So by the way, OpenLiberty is use Eclipse Transformer to transform the binary from JavaX to Jakarta. So it's it's benefit a great deal from the Jakarta EE 9.1 work, because Jakarta 9.1 is essentially same as Jakarta EE 8. The only difference is the namespace change. So we use the Eclipse Transformer to transform the binary. So we set up all the framework to do the transformation. So it's for you, if you want try it out with the new MicroProfile 5.0 and you can transform your existing application from JavaX to Jakarta namespace. You can do the source level transformation. If you want, you can say, okay, I do a global replacement. You can use the kind of some a command, like this is kind of some command that you can directly transform the JavaX to Jakarta, like in the Java file, or transform some file name, or you use the Eclipse Transformer to transform the source. For binary, if you don't have a source code, or you think the source will not change, and you can just transform a binary using Eclipse Transformer. But if you want to develop a new application, and highly recommend you go to use Jakarta E 9.1 and MicroProfile 5. Do not look into the older version of the releases, because the future is Jakarta namespace, is JavaX is dead. And then once you write the new application, you can deploy to the runtime, support both, such as OpenLiberty, Wildfly, and others. So with that, I can give you a quick demo on how to use the MicroProfile 4.1 and 5.0 on OpenLiberty. So let me go to see my VS Code. So I can open VS Code. That's the IDE I use. So I have the VS Code MicroProfile extension pack installed, so I can directly create a MicroProfile application using that. You can see group ID, artifact ID, and I can choose 4.1, and then choose OpenLiberty, choose Java 11, choose Maven. Actually, I choose all these 8 ones, so this is standalone GraphQL, and let me just choose that. And then I just go to generate into the demo folder, add to the current project. So as you can see here, and I have 2 microservices created. So service A and service B. So let me just let me start service A, the Liberty demo mode. And at the same time, let me start service B, the Liberty demo mode. So while this is starting, let me quickly walk you through the service A and service B. So in the 4.1, so the only change is about the startup, prop. So basically, is the only change is about now is we have a new annotation startup. So basically, you can add this annotation on the NACDI bin, and then you can create your startup kind of logic here. So here you can directly implement a health check, and then you can check to see, okay, if this endpoint is available, and then I will, if this endpoint available, and then I will just like say return up is for that for this application. So other things like other things. So this is the kind of the MicroProfile REST client. Let me quickly see. See what happened here. Okay, so So anyway, let's have a look at have a look whether the service A started. Localhost. So as you can see, like the service A started, so the health startup. So you can see it's kind of written in the in the JSON, like a response, like a startup. You can put and then the status up. And also this is kind of the hello world, and in that, let's see. So in this is like a service A in this hello world. If I change this hello world, I can see hello world x. Yeah, it seems that everything worked. And also this is open API, so you can see it's like all the endpoints. Liberty also has UI support, and you can see all the endpoint and directly invoke there. The other thing is kind of this demonstrates how can you call the service B. So it's let's go like in this one, as I said earlier, like a service A directly call into service B, and so service A directly calling this one is saying process parameter value, use MicroProfile REST client. So as you can see here is the get operation, do something, and you refresh your mind, you use MicroProfile REST client, register REST client, and then you use the same interface. It's saying do something and the get operation and then the path. And then actually you link them up using the MicroProfile config. So it's a fully qualified class name /mprest/URL. This is backend. So it seems that everything worked fine. Just a demonstrate actually does poke into the service B. I can say service B. I change the service B. Now it's kind of going back here. So it's at the service B. It's a real according to like a service B. So next I want to show you how to use MicroProfile 5. So basically now you have an application running on MicroProfile 4.1. Now you want this is the application microservice is under active development. You really want to use the Jakarta namespace for forward development. Now it's kind of the you consider about migration. So let's stop this one. Stop the service from running. Now it's kind of all I need to do is just change the POM XML from 4.1 to 5.0. And also when you deploy to Liberty, and also just change the runtime to be 5.0. So as you can see, it's immediately you got a red all over, but it's fine because it's once you change to be 5.0, so again you do the same for service A. So yes, 5.0, and also you make sure you deploy it to the Liberty and bring the feature and MicroProfile 5.0. So it's if you have a lot of files, you have a lot busy job to do. So basically, here is JavaX no longer available to you. You have to say Jakarta instead. So you say, okay, I will go through them to update them all, but it's a really tedious job to do. And sometimes it's some Javadoc and Also, sometimes it's file name, and sometimes it's about configuration. It's really error prone if you do it yourself. So with this, actually, this is why Eclipse Transformer kicks in. It can help you great deal because it will go through all the files to do the global replacement and plus all the non-Java files and file names and etc. So let me show you like Eclipse Transformer. So it's if you want to get to know more about Eclipse Transformer, so there's Eclipse Transformer. If you directly search GitHub Eclipse Transformer GitHub repo, so you can get in here. It's kind of the under active development. So you go to all the documentations and etc. If you request something with the issue, and also Open Liberty, and there's a blog regarding the Eclipse Transformer. You can just say Transformer with so this will tell you exactly how to use the transformer. So it's, as you can see, it's kind of the running transformer, which is Java minus jar. So let's do that. So I already download the transformer binary, Java minus jar. So my source Xgeeks, and then the destination dash Jakarta. Is and while it's doing that, let's have a quick look. If you want use the latest transformer, you can check out that GitHub repo and do a Maven clean package to build the binary yourself. Or you can directly download the binary, the released binary from Maven Central. So you can run using this command, which is I used earlier. And then apart from that is the other thing, the transformer is not only transform from JavaX to Jakarta, maybe you want to transform from Jakarta to JavaX, or you want to transform from package A to package B. You can all do that. You just need to specify parameters and etc. So this is you want to see the usage, you just do a dash usage. So it's so this is more like a configuration, support as well. So it's you can see it's kind of the does all the transformation. So in Liberty actually is from the Java Jakarta E8 to Jakarta E 9.1. There's some feature, also the number change, and sometimes the feature name change. So so it's like EJB changes via enterprise bin and etc. Now it's been also transformed. So it's now it's kind of there's a new files all created in the Xgeeks dash Jakarta. So this is a transformed project. So if you open our project, so let's have a look. So it's so all of the files, as you can see, they are all become Jakarta. So these are all Jakarta. So let's see whether I can start the service. So if I do service A, given negative F. So you do the same. Oh, need to do a clean to make sure I clean everything. So remove all the artifacts. So it's yeah. So it's basically it's I can see it's kind of the all been transformed. We will clean because I need to remove all the target. So it's kind of all this updated and also the config and etc. So Will is trying to start up, and also I just remind you like the MicroProfile GWT. So it's basically it's in the service B. There's another endpoint which is being secured. So it's a secure endpoint. This for this endpoint, like get GWT base value, so it's only allow the row protected to be able to access this endpoint. So it's how to like from the client to the server. How can you pass like this is this user group. So it's MicroProfile GWT and or the here to help is here to help. Basically, it's added two more claims on top of the GWT. So it's on top of GWT. One claim is a UPN. So the other claim is set groups. So basically, UPN is just the user ID, and groups is which group this ID belong to. So basically, it's a token, and when you invoke the backend, and then the push the token like you directly. This is demonstrate how to use Jaxer as a client to invoke the backend. So you invoke the backend, and also you send the GWT token as a header. So it's so basically it's and then you request a header and authorization, and then send the token across, and then backend will receive this token and open it up and say, okay, you got this required group, and then you are allowed to access this endpoint. So with that, let's quickly have a quick look to see like this is the GWT. So it can directly like invoke this backend. So let's quick look at the backend. Let me close this one. So basically, it's kind of the so this is the kind of secured backend. If you say service B, and then let's go back here to see, yeah, service B. So this response is from the backend. So if you change the backend, for example, if you change the backend, you don't say, okay, not protected. I want a super to access me. And now it's kind of you won't get any response because it's forbidden. So it's let's change it back and save that. And then also you can also like look at a JSON web token. It is say inject this JSON web token, and then you can even print out what a token is like. Token get a raw token. So you can go back here to see this is all being printed out. And then in order to see what's this token like, you can go to the gwt.io, and you can just decode this token, and then you can see, okay, so the group is protected, and also the UPN, and this is the algorithm you use RS256. The other thing is kind of you can see, let me directly call this backend. Also, the open tracing is also working. Localhost. So I have the Jaeger client 168.86. So the Jaeger client. So the service is Xgeeks and tracing. So you can see it's kind of a few seconds ago, and all this kind of you can see is that all three spans correlated into one tracer. So is everything worked like with just like Eclipse Transformer to transform your existing application, from the JavaX to Jakarta. If you create a brand new application, and you can directly use kind of the you can directly use some like other tools such as the start.openliberty.io to directly create kind of the application, for example, X Liberty, and it doesn't say generate project. And then you can open it. You can open in the VS Code. So as you can see, it's a kind of it is just like a JAX application. And then it's like all it gives you server XML is bringing this feature, and the POM XML is bringing this all the API dependencies. And if you want, you can just do a hello world for Java, and then you can say arch path, for example. And then you can create maybe you can create a get operation, public string greeting, maybe just a return hello X from OpenLiberty. The path greeting. You can save this one. Let me just stop this process. And also stop this process. And then it is like so go back to the here. So you can start. You can say given liberty dev. You can start up. So it's well, it's kind of the running, and let's go back to the presentation again. So this is the kind of I demonstrated earlier with kind of a brand new application, and there's multiple choices. You can use the start.openliberty.io. Obviously, this is kind of you deploy your application to OpenLiberty, and also we are trying to work on the start.microprofile.io to support the MicroProfile 5.0. This so that one is kind of we are trying to do more updates to support 5.0. So at the moment, the latest the support up to 4.1. So it's because the start.microprofile.io is kind of is in the community, so trying to wait for a few implementations to be available, so that we can start generate more files, and also is add more implementations to support MicroProfile 5.0. So it's let's see the properties. The application is up running, because it has like a MicroProfile okay, localhost. So as you can see, it's because it also supports MicroProfile Open API. So also you can see the UI. Can directly you can see try it out, execute, and then it's kind of tell you what's in there. Say hello XGeeks from Open Liberty. So that kind of thing is exactly seeing that. So this is a quickly demonstrate how to create a brand new applications with some runtime support both. If you there's more tooling available, and with more kind of the runtime support MicroProfile 5. So stay tuned. Also is as I mentioned earlier, is the MicroProfile Starter is going to support MicroProfile 5.0 as well. So in the next a few minutes, I quickly talk about the future plan for MicroProfile, especially in the 2022. So with that, are there any questions, Rita?
Hi there, Emily. So we don't have questions yet, but I think this is a great reminder for everyone watching us now. If you have any questions, you can make sure to leave them in the chat, and Emily will address all of them. Okay?
Yeah, great. Thank you, Rita.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So is in the 2022, so this year's ago, as I mentioned earlier, because the 5.0 kind of align with Jakarta and E 9.1, and there's some standalone specifications like reactive messaging, and also the GraphQL and LRA. So these are standalone specs. Also, we are working on these standalone spec to make them align with Jakarta 9.1. Otherwise, they won't be able to work with MicroProfile 5.0. And also, we want to adopt Jakarta namespace across the asset, including all the tutorials and etc. In our MicroProfile open tracing, because in that specification we adopt open tracing standard. However, as you know, open tracing and open sensors merge together to form a new CNCF project that is called Open Telemetry. So with that, is kind of open tracing is kind of dead. So we want in the 2022 we want remove MicroProfile open tracing from the umbrella release, and then we want to add the MicroProfile telemetry basically in the umbrella release. So at the moment, we are working on the MicroProfile telemetry. So basically, this project is directly adopt open telemetry and to be the replacement for the open tracing. So we adopt our open telemetry tracing portion and in the MicroProfile specification, and then it's kind of from now onwards, and we'll just concentrate on the MicroProfile telemetry, and we will not do much work on the MicroProfile open tracing. And also the next specification is MicroProfile metrics. So MicroProfile metrics borrowed kind of the job wizard, and a lot of concept and etc. is kind of worked very well with job wizard. However, there's a new kind of monitoring library called Macrometer. So at the moment, MicroProfile metrics spec team is working on to see how can we kind of adopt a Macrometer. So this is the kind of metrics aspect. And also we want to evaluate some new specifications. Also, we want to focus on the innovation. So we want to evaluate whether we want to create a new spec called converters to convert from one type to the other. If you are interested, please get in touch. We can work together for these new ideas and etc. And also we want to evaluate the need for the gRPC spec. And if you follow the Jakarta specification, also I think is Jakarta RPC. We might just work together with Jakarta community on the Jakarta RPC project to see how can we leverage gRPC. And also is I mentioned quite a few times about standalone spec, about reactive messaging, reactive stream operators, GraphQL, context propagation, LI. Also, we want to look at them to see whether they should continue remain as standalone, or we bring them into the platform spec. And also there's one spec called context propagation. So that's very closely related to the concurrency. So quite a few APIs already made to the Jakarta concurrency. So also we want to discuss whether we want directly move this spec to a Jakarta concurrency, and then the focus effort on the future development on the Jakarta concurrency. So this is all the kind of activities we need to focus on. And as you know, is in the Jakarta EE10 release, there's a new kind of portion called new profile introduced. It's called Jakarta Core Profile. So is it going to be released in the 2Q 2022? Also, we want to evaluate whether we want to adopt this core profile. And the next one is about evaluate whether we should bring in more kind of Jakarta specs, such as the beam validation. So at the moment, we are investigating whether we kind of integrate beam validation with the MicroProfile Open API. So this is, if that works out well, we will just bring in the beam validation into MicroProfile as one of the dependencies. And also, we also want to consider data access, how to standardize the data access with some input from Spring Boot or Panache and etc. So the next one is about we just need to look closely regarding the cloud infrastructure, and such as kind of all the container, the cloud such as the Amazon Lambda, and also the Google functions and etc. Also, we want to see whether there's a need for us maybe come up with a standard how to get a MicroProfile up running seamlessly in the multi-cloud. So basically, you just write a kind of one style a MicroProfile app, and you can run as a Lambda, you can run as Google functions and etc. So this is these are a lot kind of a space for us to be able to innovate. So just to briefly talk about MicroProfile Telemetry. So basically, is that right now the working group, the MicroProfile working group, has approved the new specification called MicroProfile Telemetry, and basically is kind of this this repository or this specification, we will just adopt open telemetry tracing. And also it support three styles of the instrumentation. Auto instrumentation basically is kind of all of your JAXRS invocation or MicroProfile client invocation is directly they automatically being traced. So this is the auto instrumentation. The other one is the manual instrumentation. So if they are not JAXRS method, etc., you can use the CDI to inject the trace and inject the span, and then directly it's manually trace. And then the third style is the agent instrumentation. So we directly adopt Open Telemetry Java instrumentation project, and then allow runtime is automatically do the instrumentation, and without end user adding any annotations whatsoever. So the next one is about CDI integration. As I mentioned earlier, like all these open telemetry, tracer, span, baggage, all these APIs, they can freely injectable to the CDI beans. This is improve the developer experience, user experience. Basically, is if your Java EE developer directly inject them and call the method from these APIs. So make a better use of CDI. So the next one is Matrix 5.0. I mentioned briefly earlier. So it's basically this is investigating to pull in the micrometer. Also, the team may have a few options. One of the options is kind of continue to support the current MicroProfile Matrix APIs, but the implementation can bring in micrometer, and then is the support the existing APIs, but you will get all the micrometer data. So it's all the other kind of agent and etc. be able to process the micrometer style data. So Prometheus and etc. The Grafana, they can recognize all this data without any problem. So it's basically, if we use this kind of proposal, so essentially is the spec will provide a shim layer, so make the current MicroProfile Matrix APIs continue to work. But it's still under a discussion, so hopefully they will make a decision pretty soon. So in the next release will be in the 2022, and we trying to do 3 releases. However, since we released the 5.0 release at the end of December, and then we skip the February release, directly go to July release. In July release, we trying to release MicroProfile Telemetry 1.0, add MicroProfile Telemetry 1.0, and release the Matrix 5.0 and OpenAPI 3.1, and plus is some other spec update. And then if we add the Telemetry 1.1, we will remove the open tracing from umbrella release. And then is the October release, and to be determined. So we haven't worked out plans yet. But this year we want to focus on innovation. So please get involved in if you have any ideas and want to get involved in existing technology specifications, please join the MicroProfile.io Google group. So this is the kind of useful links for you to take away. If you want to learn any MicroProfile spec, go to the OpenLiberty.io guide. There's many guides for you to try it out. And finally, do a shameless plug is last year I co-authored a book called Practical Cloud Native Java Development with MicroProfile. So it's available on Amazon. So this is short URL for you to go to Amazon. So it's if you want to do a cloud native Java development, please check it out. So this book covers everything you need to know about MicroProfile. With that, thank you for your time. And by the way, if you are watching this video right now, and we have a job opening in like IBM and UK, is about like a software developer, and one of the skill I want is about MicroProfile development. If you are interested, get in touch. My Twitter handle is Emily FH Jiang. With that, thank you very much. Are there any last minute questions? Let me stop share.
Hi, Emily. Thank you so much for a great talk, and also for leaving your your contacts. So everyone has no excuses for not reach out to you in case they have any questions or in case they would like to reach out. So we only have good comments. So Nuno just mentioned that he really appreciated your presentation. So yeah, thank you also, Nuno, for joining us for today's presentation. Thank you. So I think let's just give 10 extra seconds for everyone over there at home if they have any questions for you. Otherwise, Emily, if I'll say it on your behalf, but as you say it, people can find you on Twitter, as you have your handle over there. Also, Samuel really enjoyed. Thank you, Emily. I already have the book. It's great. So that's nice.
Oh, thank you.
Nice. Thank you, Samuel, also for attending to today's live stream. It's always nice to have people that already support the work of our speakers. So that's nice. Emily, I think we just want to highlight on behalf of X6 that it's always good to have you here sharing your expertise with us. And we're looking forward already to the next live stream. And over there at home and everyone watching us, if you have any questions for Emily that might come up or pop up in your mind after this, after watching this video once again, you can feel free to reach out to Emily via Twitter, and Emily will be happy to address your questions. Emily, thank you once again for joining us. It was awesome to have you. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed it as well. And
yeah, thank you, Rita.
Thank you. And also thank you to everyone that watched over there at home. It was awesome to have you. And we hope to see you again next week in one of our live streams once again. So keep up with our social media so that you understand all the details. Thank you so much. It was great to have everyone. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.